Welcome to this week's episode of That 4x4 Show. This week it's time for us to have the budget show. In other words, the end of the month, salty cracks. And we also go to Bass Lake and we have a look at a very old Land Cruiser. But first, it is time for the end of the month, salty cracks. Yeah, but so we get to the budget episode.
Is it that bad?
It's tough. Everything's on a downhill. Even we're sitting on a downhill for this morning's shoot. That's how bad it is.
Yeah, salty cracks.
See, end of the month salty cracks. Sorry, I can offer you one, but there's no butter, no caviar.
There's like 2 grains of salt on this thing, Benny.
That's budget.
This is a huge downgrade from a wimpy, eh?
Not really.
No.
This is actually upgrade. I prefer this.
All right.
I really prefer this. But seeing as though it's the budget program, you know, we have to look at budget 4x4s. So I've been thinking, what can we use?
Didn't you guys, you and Omhanas, use a Suzuki Jimny in season 1?
Oh yeah. Yeah, I remember that. That was actually fun. That's where Hannes thought my knee's part of the gilly. In Series 1, we put a small Jimny, which nowadays sells for 215,000 Rand, up against a powerful Porsche Cayenne and a flashy new Samyang Rexton. The little Jimny took all the punches we threw its way, even beating the mighty Porsche in the Sam Gymkhana test. We also tested the 4x4's off-road, and again the 1300 Jimny with its low-range gearing and pocket-sized maneuverability really impressed racing legend Hannes Krobler. It really is a capable little 4x4, straight out of the box. In the end, we had to decide which 4x4 we would buy, but since our collective collection of funding was, well, not nearly enough for the mighty Porsche, we opted instead for the trusty and affordable little Jimny. There was a bit of a problem though. Space was a bit tight in the Suzuki's cabin. Now, that was a lot of fun with the Hannes. But I've been thinking.
You've been thinking a lot, actually.
Yes, I'm a big thinker. It's not like tortoise that we drove over at speed. We were wondering what was going through his mind, and then we realized that he's not really a great thinker. But anyway, what other SUV is more or less the same size as a Suzuki Jimny that would qualify, that we can compare or say this is going to be a budget 4x4? This is it. It's the Daihatsu Terios Off-Road, retailing for 290,000 Rand. This model is based on the short wheelbase 4x4 model, but it also gets a few tricks to help it deal with off-road driving. This includes a free-flow exhaust that ups the 1.5 litre engine's power by 10 kilowatt to 87 kilowatts, fancy side steps, a nudge bar which unfortunately decreases the approach angle, as well as slightly taller all-terrain tires and off-road springs for the suspension that help increase the little Daihatsu's ground clearance by 2.5 centimeters over the standard version. But, and here's a big but, the Terios does not have a transfer case. So, can this off-road do off-road? To find the definitive answer to that question, we've come here to the Tabahinkwe Game Reserve west of Johannesburg. This reserve features plenty of wildlife and a few rather demanding 4x4 obstacles, like this one to kick off with, a little water crossing. This looks like nothing, but we've got a big ridge here and we've got a tow bar like that on the back of that car.
Oh, okay.
And it's kind of steep going in and getting out. But what I need now is for you to get on the other side of the river. I know you don't like to swim, but I need you on that side to guide me through, please.
But a bit of momentum, don't you think?
No,
Not.
there's a hole there and there's big rocks. It's going to hurt that car, so I'm going to have to come in slowly and then drive it out.
Yeah, but you'll need the momentum going up, isn't
I
it?
need to go in slowly first and then momentum out.
So you want me to guide you over this rock with your front tire?
Left
With
wheel
your
over
passenger
there.
tire that side?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay,
And I can do that?
let's try this.
Okay, cool.
Steady as she goes. Steady as she goes. Oh dear. That nudge bar nudges a rock.
Hang on. Keep it there. Okay. Okay, go.
So what do you reckon now, Benny?
We got through, but not unscathed. And just on a personal note, I have a huge problem with these kind of fitments. Okay, it might look good, but it takes away from your approach angle. As you can see what's happened, it pushed up against there. Now it's caused some other damage, so it's pushing the bumper back, but that's not the end of the world. We can fix that. But that was still an easy test. Here's one that is a bit tougher. On this hill, the lack of low range will count heavily against the Terrier's off-road. And without too much clearance, we can't tackle the hill at 60 kilometers an hour either. The lack of low range and good old horsepower conspired to halt our progress there. And there's no point in trying again, otherwise we might injure the Terriers even more. On that note, it's time to take stock of where we are at. Yeah, Papa. No. The biggest problem here is the fact that there's no low range.
Okay.
It'll probably be perfect for Mom for school run, hopping on the pavements and so on. Maybe a little Sunday afternoon drive to a nature reserve to do a game drive on a normal
Picnic
gravel road.
spot or whatever.
Yeah, but as a off-roader, no. There's a couple of problems.
What if maybe we change the front bumper, suspension, tires? No?
It might make a difference, but I honestly still think that is when you start climbing, when you really need that low down power. I don't know if that's going to make a big difference. It'll probably help in terms of ground clearance, etc. But I honestly don't think that that's going to make a difference. But maybe we
You've
need
got
to
that naughty look again.
We need to go and dig in the archives. We actually took one of these and ramboed it up a bit. Stay tuned, because later in the program you'll see what we managed to dig out of the archives. Bass Lake is very close to Henley on Klip, and this is very doable if you're in Gauteng for a day trip. And you can either scuba dive, or you could fish, or you could 4x4. Well, we went to Bass Lake and we decided to 4x4. Bass Lake 4x4 Adventures is situated just 35 kilometers from Johannesburg and about 90 kilometers from Pretoria, near the 3-horse town of Henley on Klip. It features a self-drive trail that is 14 kilometers long and is said to take about 3 hours to complete. Boasting a number of tough obstacles based on the natural topography of the area, and with several ascents, descents and water crossings, the trail also has escape routes at the most difficult sections. There are numerous obstacles that will challenge both driver and vehicle. Our standard Fortuner got through most of the obstacles without too much of a pain, but trail boss Alan Pepper did bypass some of the more difficult challenges, which he says is normally only the reserve of the Jeep Wranglers gangs. The trail is closed during heavy rains due to safety reasons. Maximum of 6 vehicles per group are permitted on the trail. Oh, and Alan normally concludes any trail day with this particular obstacle. It's not nearly as life-threatening as it may look, but inside the cabin of just about any 4x4, there are normally a few high-pitched yelps to be heard. In case you are a novice and don't know what that second gear lever is supposed to do, Alan also offers various 4x4 training options, ranging from half-day introductions to more intensive full-day sessions. He is quite the character, and his alternative 4x4 driving methods proved quite effective during our time at Bass Lake. Anyway, the venue also features a camping area with all the basic amenities, as well as a restaurant and bar, and a basic dive shop if you are into diving. Overall, Bass Lake 4x4 Adventures offers a great day out option for Gauteng-based families. Visit our Facebook site for contact details. Time for a history lesson now, okay? An FJ40 1961 Land Cruiser model. Have a look at this. If you are a Toyota Land Cruiser fan, this vehicle should make you rather excited. It's an original Land Cruiser FJ40L built in 1961 in left-hand drive form. That year, less than 20,000 FJs were built and sold in various parts of the world, so this 4x4 is quite the rarity. Gary Swemmer from the 4-wheel drive trucking company bought it some years ago and restored the old Toyota to pristine condition. He has added a few modern details, such as the bucket seats and harnesses, TJM suspension, modern mud-terrain tackies on modern rims, a TJM bull bar with a winch and some spotlights. The dashboard is still vintage FJ40, but Gary has rubberized the load area and added a roll bar. The FJ is powered by the original 3.8-litre straight-six engine that still breathes through something called a carburetor. The original engine delivered around 90 kilowatts and, more importantly, almost 300 newton meters of torque at low revs. It is equipped with a 3-speed manual gearbox. Yep, that's right, 3 forward speeds. Driving the FJ40 off-road is not only a very awesome experience, but also a very old-school one. As you'd expect, the front wheel hubs have to be locked manually. Next, a lever in the dashboard engages 4-wheel drive. And if that's not enough, a bigger handbrake-like contraption selects between high and low range. And of course, this cruiser has no traction control, nor can the front or rear differentials be locked like in a modern cruiser. Instead, the solid axled legend puts all its money on sheer mechanical grip of wheels on the ground, as well as plenty of low-down grunt from the tough old straight-six mill. This is one awesome cruiser, but as Trevor Swimmer demonstrates here, it's best to keep the old thing going to only play with on the odd occasion. As a daily driver, it is rather uncomfortable and windy. Well, it's time for me to introduce you to my little Daihatsu Terios. And this is a Daihatsu Terios with a difference. This one is on steroids. If you watched season 1 of the show, you will remember this baby. Leisure Wheels magazine took a standard Terios 4x4 and added an imported Pro-Comp off-road suspension kit, a new aluminium bull bar, skid plate and side steps from Maniac Manufacturing in Cape Town, a winch from Safari Center, an imported snorkel, new wheels from A-Line, and beefy all-terrain tires from Cooper, and a Trick Lumino LED light bar. The engine was turbocharged, but several issues with this conversion saw the forced induction idea being scrapped. So the engine is now running stock again, with the exception of the free flow exhaust that was developed for the original turbo conversion. As it is though, the upgrades cost more than 100,000 Rand, so in the end you are talking about 360,000 Rand for the package. And I'm not sure that is very budget friendly anymore.
Earlier in the program, we drove the off-road version of the Terios. Didn't do too well. Here I am in the beefed up one. You remember? Series 1? Here she is. Bull bar on the front, uprated suspension, bigger tires. And I must be honest, it's better, slightly better.
Bernie got himself a green la-di-da souped up Terios. Okay, whatever, Bernie. But I've got myself a Gemini. Yeah! This is Peter Smith's tricked up Zook. The little 1300 engine is stock standard, so it delivers 63 kilowatts of power and 110 newton meters of torque. Peter has added a snorkel, full suspension upgrade, replacement front bumper with skid plate and spotlights, a roof rack and Goodyear all-terrain tires. Most importantly, he added a rear differential lock, and together with the Jimny's standard transfer case, this should make one capable little 4x4. All the upgrades have also added around 100k to the asking price, so you are looking at a total of around 315,000. Doesn't matter, this Jimny will run rings around Bernie's la-di-da Daihatsu. Now, just to crash Bernie's party, just a little bit in my boss goods.
Well, here we are. This is the uprated and much improved Daihatsu Terios. Remember Series 1, we started out with a little Daihatsu, was one of our project cars. Aluminium replacement bumper, Procom suspension, bigger tires, snorkel, the motor's been worked on a bit. And I must be honest with you, this does a lot better than the standard version that I was driving just now. As far as Tumelo is concerned, I've got absolutely no idea where he is. He's probably off organizing a strike with his mates or something again. I really have no idea. But like I said, this does... What's this now? I know they say the Swiss invented the watch and Africa owns the time, but where have you been?
I was organizing a strike on Benny, I'm sorry, man.
And this? Looks like it's got a lot of accessories.
Well, way better than yours. It's got enough accessories. What's your problem?
Let's go find an obstacle.
Let's go.
And so we headed out, with the Terios admittedly requiring a big helping of momentum to get up and over some of the slippery climbs. No low range, speed is the Terios' best friend. Thankfully, this Daihatsu rides much higher than a standard one, and the Procomp suspension really works well too, keeping the wheels on the ground, so we get the job done. But it is quite annoying watching the little Jimny on the same obstacles. You can tackle them at half or even quarter the speed, and that rear locker and the low gearing doing their jobs. And then we get to the toughest obstacle so far, a steep, rocky and slippery climb. And oh no, this is not good news for the Terios.
This is a lot more challenging.
Loose
So,
rocks, incline.
I'm going to ask you to maybe move back 5 or 6 meters so I can build up a
bit of
proper
momentum, yeah.
head of
Okay,
steam.
cool.
And let's see how far we get. I know
Alright.
you shouldn't, theoretically, you shouldn't struggle. Okay?
Remember,
But I
I'm
also
organized.
know,
Oh,
I
okay,
also
cool.
know, okay? The worse the shot is, the bigger the scope is.
Whatever.
The Terios is first up, but first I have to take a bit of a run up to gather some momentum. Momentum combined with a good grip from the tires and suspension and the ample clearance, well, let's see. And up we go. Did it. It's the little Jimny's turn, and really, it just putters up here as if it was nothing. And so, after finding more obstacles where the Terios surprised us all and went everywhere the Jimny did, we ended up back at the river crossing and climbed that had left a mark on the Terios off-road.
So we've driven through this whole place now, okay, and we've basically come full circle. This modified little Daihatsu Terios has actually surprised me, and I think maybe surprised you as well.
Now just look now, it caught my eye. It says Maniac on the bash plate. But anyway,
Just up ahead, yeah.
How
And
fitting.
in actual fact, yeah, this morning is where we picked up some damage, and I think this modified one would actually go through here in a breeze.
Quite easy. So you're
And
gonna
then-
change
You know what?
your line a bit.
No.
Not okay.
This time around, the approach angle and clearance is no bother for the souped up Terios. To climb out of the stream, well, here low range would have done its job. As it stands, I have to rev up the little 1.5 litre engine and work the clutch much harder than I'd prefer to do, but we're out. And now the chimney. It skips through here as if it was nothing at all, but there is one more challenge, and it's the one that saw the Terios off-road become unstuck earlier in the day. Only one option here: pick up as much speed as I can and keep that right foot flat in first gear. We made it. We actually made it. Now let's see how the chimney will go. No mistake, this is one steep and slippery climb, and even Mr. T will need some momentum up here. Up he goes, but then he loses a bit of momentum. But he keeps the chimney moving, barely, but it moves, and he's up too. That is quite an obstacle.
I'm surprised. I'm very surprised.
At my driving skills, or
No, I'm actually surprised this Terios made it up here. I must be honest with you. In my heart of hearts, didn't think it's going to make it.
yeah, I also didn't think.
But I do think the suspension and the tires make a huge difference.
Yeah,
But on the other hand, if I had to choose a budget 4x4 that I could use, I'd go for a proper 4x4.
leave my leg alone.
Well, folks, unfortunately, that's all that we have time for. Next week, Tumelo and I get to drive two awesome buckies, and it is my privilege and my honor to be the first person to shake down our Jeep Rubicon.